Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to another video. We just got our third official trailer for the Batman titled The Bat and the Cat, and I absolutely adored the new trailer. As is with all the new trailers, I'll be doing a full in-depth frame by frame, scene by scene, shot by shot breakdown. If you haven't already checked out my full reaction to this new trailer, make sure to click the link in the comments down below. And since I'm doing the shot by shot breakdown, I won't be doing any theory videos off of this, but if some other big stuff comes out, just know I'll be the first one to cover it here on this channel. So hit that subscribe button and turn notifications on so you don't miss out on any new Batman news or updates. But don't wasting more time, let's get right into it, breaking down the new Batman trailer shot by shot. So I have the new trailer pulled up on screen right here. So starting it off, we start off with just some more shots of the Batmobile. It looks absolutely sick, and my favorite part about this trailer has to be how they utilize the Batmobile. We see a lot of crazy shots, including this first one right here of it driving in the rain. We have so many shots of the camera just planted on the Batmobile in various spots. We have one by the wheel, we have one by Robert Pattinson's foot, which we saw earlier in the last trailer, and it's crazy that they build specific versions of this car for the cameras to be in certain spots. You're not supposed to be able to get a camera that low to the ground, especially that big of a camera that you have to use on movie sets. You have to build a completely different or tear apart that same version of the car in order to get those shots, and I'm glad Matt Reeves is willing to do it because these shots look absolutely insane. Okay, so this is the first kind of shot and dialogue that we have in the trailer. The lady says,
"Sorry.
I wouldn't be bothering you here, but your people keep telling me you're unavailable."
It's just, I think, further proving that Bruce Wayne is in hiding. We get a shot of Bruce Wayne in Gotham, obviously with this hoodie on, what looks like a leather jacket of sorts, and we see a better shot of Gotham later in this trailer, but from what we can see right now, it just looks beautiful. I love the darkness and the contrast with the light in front of him and all that kind of stuff. It's just a beautiful shot overall.
Your family has a history of philanthropy, but as far as I can tell, you're not doing anything.
This line hits different because we all know that in this portrayal of Bruce Wayne has been in hiding. He hasn't come out for a long time, and he finally has to at the cathedral for the funeral, and it looks like where they're walking is the cathedral. This looks like the first time that Bruce Wayne is coming out of hiding. We've seen this exact hairdo of Bruce Wayne in the behind the scenes reel as well as previous trailers, which was the main stuff in the first teaser trailer that we had. So it looks like it's that exact same scene, and then again we just get more shots of this car chase, which I'm gonna keep saying this over and over, but it looks absolutely epic. And this is what I was talking about. We get another shot where it's just mounted onto the car. I think this looks so sick, especially within all the rain and the flames color. Everything just looks really, really nice when it's mounted onto the car. It also feels a lot more rugged, if that makes sense. Like, it just feels like I'm in the car with Bruce. It feels like I'm actually experiencing the rush of the car. What I liked about the Nolan trilogy movies is whenever he uses the Bat Cycle, I think it's called, or whatever motorcycle thing, the Batmobile, any kind of car, the camera moved really fast alongside the car or behind the motorcycle and stuff like that, but it never felt like I was one with the car, and I never felt like I was feeling the true speed of it. Obviously the camera is moving really fast behind the Batmobile, but it never felt like it was as rugged. It all felt so smooth and just regular and just like a normal supercar, but this feels super rugged, and it feels really gritty, and having the cameras on the car make it feel even more grittier. And then we see Bruce Wayne chuckle here. I obviously don't think that this is going to be like the same exact scene like where they're talking, because this is in the Batcave. The conversation is at the cathedral, so it's obviously different scenes 100%, and it just makes sense that they are. But I think they're implying story-wise here what's happening. Maybe he knows about his father's renewal lies, I guess, and how his father maybe promised a better future for the orphans, and then he didn't obviously fulfill that, so Bruce Wayne decided to give up the orphanage. We've talked about this a lot on the channel and a lot in previous videos, so if you haven't already checked out all those previous videos where I break down small tidbits and respond to your guys' comments, make sure to check those videos out. The playlist will be linked in the description down below. Also leave comments down below, because in the next Batman video I'll be going through a bunch of your guys' comments and thoughts on this new trailer. But back to what I was saying, I think story wise this shot is saying something specifically because it's kind of making the assumption that Bruce Wayne has been doing stuff for Gotham. He just hasn't been taking credit for it necessarily, and everyone in Gotham just thinks that he's sitting back, relaxing in his penthouse, not coming out to play, when he's actually being Batman, getting beat to a pulp and beating other people to a pulp, obviously, as we see in other trailers.
The Riddler. He's asking for you.
The Riddler is asking for you. Now, I think this is very, very interesting because I think this is going to be directly after when they capture Riddler. And this is what's going to lead into the scene that we saw in the second official trailer where they meet at Arkham State Hospital, I think it is.
The killer left this for the Batman. Why is he writing to you?
The line here says, the killer left this for you. Now, this looks like a map of Gotham and it says a real change. This is obviously the Riddler's entire base or hideout or whatever it is. We saw this in the Japanese trailer. We saw different shots of it and we see a little bit more of it here, but it's still nothing crazy compared to what we did see in the Japanese trailer. All right, guys, so quickly wanted to pop in. This happens every single Batman Theory video, but I just realized something, a cool little detail in this trailer. Whenever you look at the map as a whole and you just look at the surrounding and the edge of the map, you can see these little lights going off, and later in the trailer obviously we see the explosions that lead to the floodings, and this seems like where the floods will be, and it's signifying to the Batman that this is where everything's gonna go down. Try to stop me if you can. Probably won't be able to stop me because I've already started. It's a cool little detail that I didn't get to pick up the first time, so I'm glad I didn't miss it at the end of the day. And back to the video. But obviously a real change written within a map of Gotham just means that the Riddler wants to make a real change within Gotham that Gotham's officers and all the higher ups couldn't really do. Everything that they promised they couldn't actually complete, and I think this leads again into Bruce Wayne's dad just not finishing what he was supposed to do. He promised stuff to the orphanages, to the orphans of Gotham, and he promised to make a change when he really didn't. Renewal is a lie, something we've seen repeatedly in these trailers, TV spots, and all that kind of stuff. And renewal has to do with the Gotham City orphanage, and I think this all is connecting because the Riddler just wants to make a change. Obviously he's going about it in the wrong way. The Batman obviously wants to make a change too. They all want to get rid of corruption, but they're all doing it in different ways, which again is another thing I talked about in a previous Batman video.
You came. I've been trying to reach you.
And then we see the Riddler say, I've been trying to reach you once again. This is probably one of the few times or first times that the Batman and Riddler actually interact with each other. And I'm saying this because there's obviously going to be a lot of decoy Riddlers, as we'll talk about later in this video, because that's what we saw later in this video. And by the way, my friend and I called it. I called it in the last trailer breakdown, just saying. I know everyone on the internet was probably thinking it too, but I did say it. Nevertheless, this is where we start to see that Batman and the Riddler are interacting. Alfred says, why is he writing to you? And I think that they're all just surprised that the Riddler and Batman are having this more one-on-one connection, even though the Riddler is trying to change Gotham as a whole, but he chooses to target the Batman. I think the main reason for this is obviously because he has a connection to the Wayne family. This goes back to the Japanese trailer that we have, because we see a picture in which there's Bruce and Martha Wayne as well as his dad, and we see all three of them in the picture, but we also see the Riddler in that same exact picture. Maybe the Riddler was envious of their family bond, and I think that the fact that Riddler knows that the Batman is Bruce Wayne is going to add a whole other layer of connection to this movie. I think what's going to make this even more special is that the Riddler is specifically going to target the Batman, and his goal isn't to tell the world that it's Bruce Wayne. His goal is to torture Batman because he knows he's Bruce Wayne, because he knows Bruce Wayne's past and he knows everything about him. I think that's the main tactic that the Riddler is going to go for, knowing that Batman is Bruce Wayne.
Riddler's latest. It's all about the Waynes.
Then we see Selina Kyle say Riddler's latest, it's about the Waynes. I think the Riddler is going to start setting off a bunch of traps regarding the Batman's past, and this is what's going to start causing Robert Pattinson's Bruce Wayne to kind of uncover his own past and try to understand what his family has been through, even though he knows none of it.
If we don't stand up, no one will.
And then she goes on to say, if we don't stand up, no one will. I again think this is very interesting because Selina Kyle wants to team up with the Batman, and I'm assuming that the Batman doesn't really know if he should trust her or not. And I think this is what's so great about the Bat-Cat dynamic. Batman wants Selina to help, but he doesn't know if she's the right help that he needs.
You got a lot of cats.
I have a thing about strays.
And then we have a little comedic break here. This is the first time we've ever had a comedic break in any of the trailers so far, the teaser and the official DC Fandom trailer, but I will say I don't mind it because it feels like it contextualizes Catwoman's character a little more. There's a lot of comedic breaks in trailers nowadays, and they don't really do much for the story, but this one is specifically targeting Catwoman, and she says, I like collecting strays. She's just never really found a home. She's always been on the run, and it's cool to see them characterize the character in such a short amount of time just quickly throughout this trailer. And then we go on to see a few more shots of Bat-Cat fighting.
The bat and the cat. It's got nice ring.
New friend of yours?
And then Alfred says, a new friend of yours, as a question, obviously. And in the background of this specific shot, we can see he's obviously somewhat in the Batcave or something like that. But what's super interesting about this shot specifically is in the background, if you look, whenever we saw it in the first trailer and the behind the scenes trailer, it was a blue screen, green screen. They didn't want to show us what it actually was, but now we get to see it. And it looks like it's Selina Kyle in her clubbing outfit. We know that she works at the Penguins Club, if I'm not mistaken. So this is obviously the first time that Alfred gets to know about her. And Bruce Wayne has obviously had an interaction with her. Bruce Wayne goes on to say, I don't really know yet. So he doesn't know what the official like title of them is, I guess. The trailer title of this is obviously The Bat and the Cat, which is very interesting. And I think that this is going to be the beginning of whatever dynamic they end up having.
I'm just here to unmask the truth about this cesspool we call a city.
And then Riddler has this little dialogue moment here, and we basically learn that his plan is just to understand and uncover the corruption in the city. It's as simple as that. And we've known this for a very long time, but his plan is so much more elaborate and a lot more deep than that. But that's just the basic premise, and that's what I like about it. His whole ideal isn't that insane. It's just the way that he obviously goes about it. So his goals aren't that crazy. He just wants to end corruption in Gotham. Obviously, he's going a little bit too far. That's why he's the villain. But we also do get a new look at him. We see that his head thing isn't as silver as we thought it was. His face covering, it's very green here. We still see the clear glasses, as well as what seems to be a sniper, which we do see again later in this trailer. But this full fit looks absolutely insane. It looks like they're in somewhat of a stadium, which again, we do get to see later in this trailer. And before we go on, I do want to quickly mention this one shot specifically. This is Gotham. This is Gotham Empire building, a few hotels. It just looks like downtown Gotham, and it's absolutely sexy. Looks straight out of the Arkham games, and I absolutely love it. I just love the nighttime glow of this Gotham. It's just so nice. Like you see the blue and the red in the air. Just it feels so like polluted yet clean and nice at the same time. It's just the perfect mix. I love what Matt Reeves has done with this iteration of Gotham. We've seen it in a few shots in previous trailers, but this is our first time seeing it with a bunch of night lights and like neon signs glowing. It just looks so perfect.
You're part of this too. How am I part of this? Oh, you're really not as smart as I thought you were. Bruce Wayne.
And then we get to see some more shots from the specific cafe scene that we saw in the second trailer. But over this, Riddler and Batman are basically, I guess, talking back and forth to each other. And I'm assuming this is during the first phone call, which is very interesting because we saw that earlier in this trailer. But the Riddler's like, you're a part of this too. Batman's like, how am I a part of this? And the Riddler's like, you're not as smart as I thought you were. So I'm assuming that Riddler thought that Bruce knew about his parents' past, because later in this trailer, we see another snippet that kind of hints to this specific theory. But the new shots that we see are basically Batman standing outside of the cafe that Riddler is getting arrested in. I'm guessing that this is the first time that Bruce is actually seeing the Riddler, because it looks like he's very confused and he's just like analyzing the situation. And then he just says, Bruce Wayne. And it just sounds so good. It's so sexy. Like look at Robert Pattinson. Look at Robert Pattinson right here. The hair, the fit, the background, Wayne, man. Oh my God. Everything just looks so good.
All these years, you lied to me, Alfred.
Now, this is where my theory comes in. I've been saying this since the very beginning. I've been guessing that Alfred knew the entire time that Bruce's parents were corrupt. I've been dying on the hill of this theory, and I'm so glad it's true. Well, at least it looks like it's true from this trailer. So we basically see Commissioner Gordon and Batman going through what seems to be the orphanage, which we have seen in previous trailers, and we also see this a little bit in the Japanese trailer. But while we go through this, we see a door that says where it all began. It seems like one of Riddler's plans is to lure them into the orphanage, and we see where it all began. This is in green writing. Obviously, it's the Riddler. And since this was probably Wayne Manor, which is donated to the Gotham orphanage, this is probably where the Riddler stayed, and this is how the Batman and Riddler have a connection. Wayne Manor used to be where Batman lived, but now it's been passed down to orphans. I guess it's kind of symbolism for what the Riddler is compared to the Batman. He's just another level below him. He's not really that important compared to him. He's the hand-me-down version of the Batman. Maybe I'm thinking too deep into it, but that's kind of the symbolism I get from the Riddler staying in something that was donated by the Waynes.
We all have our scars, Bruce.
You're still a Wayne.
And then Alfred goes on to say, you have those scars, but you're still a Wayne. I think that shows that Alfred's trying to convince Bruce that even though you go out to fight at night, even though you hide your identity from the world, even though you're scared to go out and you just don't want to be in public, you're still a Wayne and nothing will ever stop that. This is also the second time we see the Wayne cuff pendant type of thing. We saw it earlier in the trailer and we see it again here. I think that's going to be another symbol that Bruce Wayne is kind of becoming or going into his form of an actual Wayne.
He's involved in this?
No, he's not involved.
How do you know? He's a vigilante.
The current commissioner goes, he's involved with this, and then Jim Gordon says no, and then he says, how do you know? And then he goes, oh, he's a vigilante, blah, 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 blah. This sequence in particular is very interesting to me because it seems like the police department is going to start to turn on the Batman. We already see this because in the next few shots when Bruce is grappling up the staircase, the police are shooting at him. They're literally shooting at Batman. So it seems like everyone's going to turn on him at some point. Obviously, Jim Gordon is still going to stay on Batman's side, but it seems like the rest of the police department is going to try to stop the Batman because they're probably going to think that he's part of the problem. Now, quickly, I wanted to go through frame by frame on this one because this is very interesting to me. As you can see, when you go frame by frame here, it seems like the grappling gun gets like launched into his hand. So I think that it's coming out of his wrist, and we've seen pictures of the suit wrist before where it seems like there's actually stuff within his wrist. And so I'm excited, or in his wrist in the suit, obviously. So I'm excited to see how that plays out. Again, as you can see, right in this frame specifically, it looks like there's some sort of attachment to his suit right here. And if we just keep going through, like, it's like, obviously, I mean, it's just sliding out of his suit. It's going right into his hand. And then obviously he shoots it. This looks absolutely sick in my opinion. And I love that the gadgets are built into his suit instead of just something that he pulls out of his belt. It's so sick to me. And this further proves my point. I don't know. Obviously, this could be a different sequence, but it seems like the police people are running or rushing out of their doors to maybe catch the Batman as he's grappling out in the staircase.
Who are you under there? What are you hiding?
Selena, don't throw your life away.
Don't worry, honey. I got 9 of them.
I love this humor between Selena and Batman. Obviously, we know it's going to be serious a lot of the times, and it makes sense because their relationship is going to be a massive part of this movie, as the third trailer is literally called The Bat and the Cat. And then we see a shot of Selena Kyle shooting a gun, and she looks like she's wearing the wig that she is in the nightclub. So I'm assuming there's going to be a massive nightclub fight. And we also saw the Batman holding up the Riddler by his neck in the second trailer. So there might be a fight in the nightclub that involves the Penguin a little bit, and that's released to the chase or something along those lines. But I thought I'd just point it out because she is wearing the same type of wig. It just seems to be a little bit longer.
It can be cruel, poetic, or blind, but when it's denied, it's your violence you may find.
All right, so here is where we get into the nitty gritty of this trailer. I'm glad to say that the leaks about the floods, the rumors about the floods, all of that seems to be very real. So this specific shot we already saw in the second official trailer, but as we go on, we see the explosions throughout the entire city of Gotham, and we see that it's happening near the piers and all of that kind of stuff, which obviously shows it's going to be flooding. And then the next shot, we see the entirety of Gotham flooding, and even before this, we see a few shots of Bruce in the sewers like we did in the second official trailer. And my thoughts on the whole flood plot point and all that kind of stuff, I really do like it. It looks like all of that flood stuff is going to be part of the third act, and I genuinely think this could be the best third act in any superhero movie ever made. I'm so excited to watch this third act specifically because even in test screeners, early screeners, all that kind of stuff, people have been praising the third act to not be like any superhero movie third act ever made. I can't even express to you guys how excited I am for this third act. Seems like it's gonna be something that we've never ever seen before. And this clip with the floods and all that kind of stuff, just also the Batsuit wet and just how good it looks, like the reflections of the red flare and the police signs, everything just looks so good. I know I'm getting a little off track here, but the flooding just makes me so excited.
Justice. The answer is justice.
And then we hear Pattinson say justice. The answer is justice. It looks like he's talking to Jim Gordon on the roof of GCPD here. The reason I'm saying that is because we can see lights in the background. It looks like they're on the second or third story of something because of the windows behind them. And obviously there's a person right here. There's a figure right here. Definitely looks like it's suit material. So it's probably Jim Gordon. But I think that the Riddler, I think that Jim Gordon is asking the Batman in this situation, what do we do here? What's your plan, bro? And it also looks like this is before a lot lot of fighting has happened, because it looks like the suit is pretty clean, and we know the suit gets wet, we know it has a lot of dirt, we know it gets scraped up from that subway fight, we know a lot of damage happens to the suit, and it looks pretty clean here.
Come on, vengeance. Let's get into some trouble.
Some more of that black eye paint in a hoodie. He just looks so good. Right before this, we also see Selina Kyle. It looks like they're in the same area. Obviously, it just looks like they're in the Penguins nightclub. And now we're getting to the part of the trailer where I'm going to be talking the most about, and this is where we see Pattinson and Selina Kyle fight a bunch of Riddler goons. Now, first off, I'm going to just play the clip for you guys really quick. So now that you've seen the clip again, it's fresh in your mind, I wanted to break down this thing shot by shot. So first off, we see, looks like it's the top of a stadium, and on the side here, you can see it looks like just a bunch of different Riddler goons. Now, I don't know if these are people that the Riddler made hostage and he made them fight and just kill people, and maybe he has something like in their necks that can explode, or in their suit that can explode if they don't follow what he wants to do. But it looks like Pattinson set off some explosives on the side here so that the windows would break and him and Kyle can jump down. It looks like there's people down here. I don't really know, because it seems like they like Gaussian blurred out the background here, so we could only tell what's in the foreground. And from the ad that was playing while the windows were being exploded, it says change for Gotham, all that kind of stuff. So I think this is going to be some sort of political rally for obviously a party that the Riddler doesn't necessarily agree with, and obviously it's getting shot up by the Riddler goons. And then we see Pattinson just falling through the roof. He looks absolutely insane. He does a nice roll here, and he's just fighting more Riddler goons. I think this is also going to be the same sequence in which we saw the second trailer, where the Batman is basically beating someone to a pulp, and my friend and I, we both thought it was the Riddler that he was beating up, and that's why Selina Kyle was so scared. But now that we watch the second trailer, it makes more sense that it's a Riddler goon. And when the Batman finds out that the Riddler has goons, and that this entire mission just got 100 times harder, he's gonna take out all of his anger on a goon, and obviously Selina Kyle is gonna get really freaking scared, and that's why we see her super shook in the second trailer. But as we go on, we just see more of this fight. We see Selina Kyle fighting this goon as well, but this is where we get to that one take action sequence, and I'm so excited for this. Hopefully in the actual movie it's one take like this. I would love to see it. But as we go on, we basically see the Batman taking one of the snipers. He's fighting these people. Look at this, he gets shot right here, right in the arm. Nothing happens to him. He's a god. He gets shot in the arm, and then he takes the gun. He literally holds it by the barrel, pushes this man with a gun, and basically kills him, I think, or knocks him out. And then we see him look directly into the camera. He is the Batman, and then the logo plays. And that's basically it for my breakdown of this trailer. It looks absolutely insane. I'm so glad you guys checked out this video. If you made it to the very end, please comment down below some of your thoughts on this trailer so I can review them in my next The Batman video. Also hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future Batman news, update, reactions, anything like that. All the Batman related content is on my channel right here. So again, hit that subscribe button and turn notification on so you don't miss any time I have a new video or go live. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace.